Hello, and welcome to the Cap Ball Saloon, a firearms industry-focused podcast talking about firearms marketing in the digital age. I'm your host, Anders E.T. Herzberg. On today's show, we'll be discussing the Glock Gen 6, and I think I know what it will look like. We'll take a look at the recent info that's been floating around the rumor mill, Glock's recent patents, and how the new Generation 6 will stack up in terms of features. Then we'll take a brief look at 2A companies that are doing a good job on social media and what I think others can learn from their individual strategies. Finally, we'll look at some of the reaction in the firearms community to the tariffs and what things might mean for the 2A industry. But first, a word about Cap Ball Digital Strategies. Cap Ball Digital Strategies is a 2A-focused digital marketing agency founded to help FFLs and others catering to the 2A space grow and deal with the complex world of digital marketing, offering services from organic search marketing, email marketing, social media management, and more. We want to help your 2A business succeed. So if you are an FFL, gunsmith, or serve the 2A community, visit capandballseo.com to learn more about how we can help you grow your bottom line. First, let's take a look at the massive list of discontinued models that has been floating around. This list seems to have first appeared on pistolforums.com, and it claims the email has been sent by one of the largest distributors. The forum post lists 100 different Glock models that are getting the axe. If this list is correct and accurate, it signals a massive change in Glock's production lineup. No word at the time of this recording from Glock if this is official, but if this list shakes out as real, then we are looking at a massive change in Glock's production lineup. The massive list of rumored discontinued models breaks down like this. With the most models discontinued is the Glock 22, with 14 different models. 8 of those are Gen 5, and 4 of them are MOS models. The Glock 23 has 10 different models listed, with 8 Gen 5 models and 4 MOS. The Glock 34 sees 8 different models listed, half of those are Gen 5 and MOS models. The Glock 17 has 8 models listed as well, with 6 Gen 5 models and 2 17L models. The Glock 19 sees 6 entries with 4 Gen 5 models. The Glock 27 has 5 different entries with 2 Gen 5 models. The Glock 43 also has 5 different models listed. The Glock 31 also has 5 models with 2 Gen 4 models being listed for discontinuation. The Glock 32 and the Glock 40 both see 4 different models listed. The Glock 32 has 2 Gen 4 models being discontinued, and the Glock 40, all Gen 4 models that are listed as discontinued have MOS on them as well. For the Glock 41, there are 4 models listed as well. All of them are Gen 4, with 2 of those being MOS. The Glock 45 sees 4 different models being listed as discontinued as well. The Glock 26 has 3 different models, 2 of which are Gen 5 models slated for discontinuation. The Glock 29 has 3 different models listed. 1 is a Gen 5 model and 2 are SF models. The Glock 33 has 3 models on the list. The Glock 21 SF has 2 models on the list. The Glock 35, 36, and 37 all have 2 models as well, with the 37 having 1 Gen 4 model being listed. The Glock 49 has both of its models being listed, and both of them are MOS. The Glock 30 Gen 5, the Glock 38, the Glock 39, and the 42 all have 1 model being listed. While no official statement has been released at the time of this recording, Glock's official website does list a number of currently discontinued models. The G20 Gen 4 and SF, the G29 Gen 4 and SF as well, the G40 Gen 4 MOS, the G21 Gen 4 and SF, the G30 Gen 4 S and SF, the G36, the G41 Gen 4 and Gen 4 MOS, the G37, 38, and 39 all in 45G AP, the G28, the G31, and 31 Gen 4 are listed on there as well. The G32 and G32 Gen 4, and finally the G33 and G33 Gen 4 are all listed as officially discontinued by Glock. So this does mean that the 357 SIG and 45 GAP models are all listed as officially discontinued by Glock, and currently you cannot find any active listings for them on their website. And combined with the list from this post, it looks like Glock is cutting down on the number of models that it's producing. But this begs the question, are they going to replace it with anything? I actually think so, and I think the Glock Gen 6 is right around the corner, and what's more, I think I know what it will look like. On February 27th and on March 1st of this year, Daniel Waters posted 2 patents from Glock for their handgun designs. Huge hat tip to him for digging up these patents. The first design allows for the user to disassemble the pistol without having to pull the trigger. This would be a big design change for them, as Glocks have always needed that trigger pull to disassemble them. But why change now? Well, it's probably going to boil down to chasing military or police contracts. Glock probably has received notice that the requirements for such government contracts are going to be changing, and this redesign is in response to that. The fact of the matter is, most military or police are not going to be huge gun guys. Training regularly and making them more desktop proof is something that would benefit the end user, especially if the majority of their time training with a pistol is an annual qualification. Now, training can get around this particular issue of a trigger pull, but you need your people to be paying attention to that training. So for Glock to make this change, and for government and law enforcement agencies to be requiring something like this in order for Glock to be able to get these patents, does make sense. But to get back to the patent itself, I'd be very surprised if this was not part of the upcoming Gen 6 model, as it would make little sense to keep not only the Gen 3s, but the Gen 4s and the Gen 5s all in some kind of production at the same time when you have an upgrade like this in major production for government contracts. However, this is not the only patent that Daniel Waters dug up. The second patent was for a modular grip system that allowed for a change in the grip length from full size to subcompact sizes. With this, they could introduce features to compete with handguns like the P320, Ruger RXM, and other more modular designs, letting you swap a single gun from full size to subcompact. I do note that this does not mean Glock is moving to an FCU type of handgun. The patents describe a system that would be more akin to cutting down a standard Glock frame and modifying it so a grip of a longer or shorter length could be attached to it instead. So this probably rules out a Glock Raider type of chassis. However, this does open up some possibilities for both Glock and shooters alike. On Glock's side, they can produce frames, barrels, and slides, and then pair it with any length of grip. This could even allow for other changes to accommodate shooters' preferences. I could see magwells being added, or maybe even grip angles being slightly altered for a more American grip angle using this system. Depending on what kinds of materials that are being used in the attachment area, we might even see weighted grips for more competition-orientated shooters, finger grooves, colors, and more. This does open up a lot of possibilities for clever aftermarket attachments to modify and change up things, so even more custom Gucci Glocks are on the horizon. And this may even mean that Glock is not fully killing the 357 SIG or the 45 GAP, but making them into upgrade kit only options. Something similar might be happening for the 40 Smith & Wesson guns that we see on the list as well. For better or worse, it really does look like handguns are all standardizing around the 9mm cartridge for general use. Well, we shall see. Either way, this will be yet another aftermarket opportunity for Glock accessory manufacturers. This could also give Glock some financial incentive as well, since I could see them getting better margins on the grips or caliber change kits by themselves, versus selling a whole new gun. But I have no idea what Glock's material costs are going to look like. However, I'd be very surprised if one of their bean counters has or is in the process of figuring out a way to squeeze a good profit margin out of this system. I could easily see this turning into a case where the most popular models are readily available and more niche options like 357 SIG models end up being only available as caliber conversion kits. Now, the patents don't show this, But if we go back to the post that was originally posted on pistolforum.com, the original author does state that the COA will be standard on most models. Honestly, I think this is very likely, as red dot sights are becoming standard on just about everything, and a plain Jane Glock 19 does feel like it's missing some features that are becoming industry standard. And with the COA system, if Glock can get more manufacturers on board, and I'm sure they can, we'll probably see more options beyond the aim point that is currently paired with the COA Glocks. So, to summarize, what are we looking at for Glock's possible 6th generation? A new disassembly system that does not require a trigger pull, a more modular design that lets you move from duty to subcompact size grips, and the COA optics mounting system becoming standard. This combination of features would put it more in line with what, until recently, was the very well-respected P320. But when might we see the Glock Gen 6 be announced? Well, we have one last bit of information that we can go over with in the post. The post says that the Gen 6 announcement will be coming at the annual NRA meeting as a likely possibility. Now, from a marketing standpoint, that would make sense for such a big shakeup in Glock's lineup. To be honest, SHOT Show is crowded. Literally everyone and their grandmother is announcing or showing off a product. So for a business that wants to maximize coverage for a major change in their products, this does make sense. A major firearms industry event where your product has more room to breathe in the news cycle and you can stand alone as a major player in the firearms industry. As an aside for smaller manufacturers, this is a balancing act. You don't want your announcement to be drowned out by others in the market, but you do also want to maximize your chances of getting the eyes and attention that you need to be successful. For my gamer viewers, this is analogous to how Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have been doing their own major gaming events and announcements, timed not with the major E3 event, but on their own schedule where they can dominate the industry and fan news cycle. A smart play if you have enough brand recognition to carry your news coverage on that brand recognition alone. Now, only time will tell if these predictions hold out, and while I think I'm on sound logic, there's always the possibility that I'm incorrect, as we are working off of rumors and a little known patents here, so only time will tell. Before we move on, if you want to stay up to date on two-way marketing in the digital age, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Beyond our two-way digital marketing coverage and tips, you can check out the Dead Calibers archive, where we document the pursuit of ballistic perfection, giving you the history of ammunition development from early designs to modern breakthroughs. Now, let's take a look at two companies that I think are doing great work with their social media presence, especially on YouTube, and some key takeaways that you can hopefully learn from for building your brand online. First, let's take a look at the Glock store. When it comes to the Glock store's YouTube channel, you'll often see CEO Lenny McGill front and center. Lenny uses a one-on-one approach, talking directly to the viewer, helping to bridge the gap between the brand and the viewer with a more personal presentation. Yet what stands out to me is the Glock store's content circles back to what they actually sell: slides, triggers, custom work, and accessories. The leadership demonstrating product knowledge is another factor that also helps to build viewer trust, especially for things like custom work. Next, almost without fail, Glock Store's videos will mention their location and encourage customers to stop by, again helping to build the brand's reputation as a friendly location to just stop by. Now, the Glock Store pairs their work with high-quality production value and skilled editing. However, that is not to say you have to put thousands of dollars into your video editing and production to achieve results. That's where our next example comes in: Buffalo Bore Ammunition. About 3 months ago, Buffalo Bore started a YouTube channel with literally an iPhone and Tim Sundles, the owner and founder of Buffalo Bore. Now, what makes his videos work, and his YouTube channel has gone from 0 to over 16,000 subscribers in just 3 months, is that Tim is knowledgeable and has a recognizable brand behind him. But there is more to it than just that. His videos talk directly to the customers that he wants, hunters, and those that want effective ammunition. The style of his videos are down to earth and direct, with the tone of someone who's been there and done that, probably dozens of times. And with that experience hunting, shooting, manufacturing ammo, and more, combined with his almost off-the-cuff style, engages viewers with information that they are unlikely to get anywhere else. So between the two, there's a few more things that you can take away here. First, both the Glock store and Buffalo Bore have video content that's worth watching, giving value to the viewer if they are novices or experienced shooters. Second, they either demo or show what they sell in their business. Third, they have clear branding. Lenny is constantly mentioning his store and location across videos, and Buffalo Bore's bright and bold color palette makes it easy to spot both online and on-store shelves. Beyond this, they also bring the company leadership front and center, tying their skills and knowledge to the brand directly, deepening the sense that these are brands that can be trusted. So, if you, as a business owner in the two-way world, are wondering where to start building up your online presence, these are two good places to look for inspiration on what you should be doing. Now that said, I know building out some kind of social media presence is far from easy. So here's some additional tips that I can recommend and am currently leveraging to build Cap Ball's social media presence. First, don't be afraid to repurpose content. A single video can do several things. First, you can use it on long-form video platforms like YouTube or Rumble. Next, you can take that maybe 10 to 30 minute video, extract short segments, and repurpose it on other platforms such as Facebook and Instagram Reels, X, or YouTube Shorts. There are plenty of free tools that you can leverage to do this. I personally generally use Adobe software, but Blackmagic Design has DaVinci Resolve that you can use for free. If you don't want the learning curve of either of those, there are other options such as Clipchamp, CapCut, and more for your video editing to make the process easier for you. Next, you can use that video as a tool for written content. If you're scripting it, like this podcast episode, you can simply take the text and repurpose it into a blog post for your website. Finally, you can use it for email marketing. Say you have a guide for zeroing an optic and you are collecting emails for your business. That and other informational videos can be a value add for customers that are on your email list. Put together, all of this will do a number of things. Build your brand as a recognizable entity online, enhance customer trust, and help to drive traffic to your website. Just one of many things that Google wants to see when deciding to rank you first or last place when customers start looking for your products or services online. Now, organizing this won't be easy, and manually posting all of this will be a pain in the butt. So I recommend that you leverage post scheduling on each platform or invest in a dedicated social media management tool. There are plenty out there, and you don't have to go with pricey options such as Hootsuite to get a decent social media management tool. If you can spend some time stacking up scheduled posts, that leaves you free to worry about engaging with your customers online and handling other business tasks. I'll close this section of the podcast with a proposed schedule for your posts to get started. As you get more information from your audience on a specific platform, you may want to modify these times. But to start out with, post on YouTube at 6 a.m., Facebook at 9 a.m. and then 2 p.m., Instagram the same, 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., Twitter at 6 a.m. and 7 p.m., and then on TikTok at noon. From there, you can adjust your post times further to enhance your engagement if needed. I recommend gathering data from about 30 to 90 days before making adjustments. Now for our final topic, the tariffs. Let's start out with the bottom line. Do not panic buy. You're only going to be burning money that you don't need to. Yes, companies will be leveraging tariffs for short-term gain and increased profit margins. I guarantee you that nothing on the shelves right now was hit by any of these tariffs. The price increases that you are seeing right now are pushes to grab more profits and hike prices to take advantage of a short window where the market will allow for these higher prices until people start getting wise to what's going on. Let me break something down for you. In simplistic terms, unless a product is price controlled, it will be priced according to what the market is willing to pay for it, tariffs or no tariffs. There's only so much you can increase a price before your sales will start falling off and competitors that are willing to accept lower margins will come in and take sales from you. So, as much as people are trying to say it will be ultimately a tax on goods passed on to the consumer, it will be more of a negotiation between the profit margin and what price the market will accept. And companies are already trying to price to that ceiling of what price the market will accept. So if you don't want to see prices stay sky high, don't panic buy. I'd be willing to bet we'll see a more nuanced series of negotiations that protect manufacturing in the US, but still leave open key things that are needed to keep American manufacturing running. Please don't listen to the fear-mongering Keynesian economists that want you to think that this will be a net negative for the US. Protecting American manufacturing is a net good, and most countries already do this to protect their own manufacturing bases. Resist deindustrialization. Now, as far as industry impacts go, let's start with the obvious. Your Chinese-made optics are going to go up in price, and honestly, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this. I have ethical issues with much of China's labor quote-unquote market, and their government does a lot to ensure that their economic numbers look far better than they really are. American manufacturers will step in and fill the void, and foreign companies, if they want to remain competitive, will most likely have to move production here, and some already are. Primary Arms is producing the HTX in the US already, and SIG's new Romero RS Red Dot is being made in Oregon. So there are companies that are already putting their manufacturing in the US. These tariff policies are just going to accelerate that. Next, we have firearms imports. These are going to be mostly minimal in terms of cost increases. Israel is looking at a 17% tariff, Turkey 10%, so Israeli and Turkish shotguns are not going to see any kind of a steep price hike, but they might go up. Beyond this, Canik is already doing manufacturing here, as well as HK, so there's good reason for them to keep and expand their US production capability. Yet, there's another reason that companies will want to build out their firearms production capabilities here in the US. The ATF, as much as they suck for us regular citizens to deal with, trying to import products with restrictions like 922R compliance makes it even more complicated. So the tariffs end up being just one more incentive added on to skipping having to deal with the ATF import regulations for foreign firearms manufacturers to move to the States to get better access to the world's largest firearms market. So that leaves us with ammunition to discuss. In this, we are going to see companies that are either importing ammunition or using imported components be forced to raise their costs. Sam Gabbert, the owner of SG Ammo, provided a number of examples of how this might shake out. He said PMC is looking at costs going up by $100 for 1,000 rounds of 5.56. Privy Partisan will be looking at a 37% price increase. Igman will see a $180 price increase per 1,000 rounds of 7.62 by 3.9. Seller and Ballot will see lower increases of about $40 per 1,000 rounds of 9mm, and MagTech will see $20 cost increases per 1,000 rounds of 9mm as well. Now, all of this sounds like doom and gloom, but for American manufacturers such as Supervel or Phoenix Ammunition, they now have a unique opportunity to grow and capitalize on market openings that will be coming. In a recent video, Mike at Supervel discussed how they are growing and expanding their operations, having prepared for this eventuality, focusing on American-sourced materials and components at every step of their production process. This, in short, is exactly what is supposed to happen. Zooming out a bit, I'm sure we'll continue to see shakeups as markets and companies react to this changing paradigm. However, for the consumer, I think we'll be looking at some pains in the short term, while in the long term, this restructuring of the US back to a stronger manufacturing country will serve us better in the long run. Now, with all of that wrapped up, I would very much like to thank you for sticking around, and I encourage you to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more from the Cap Ball Saloon. So, until next time, I'm Anders E.T. Herzberg, hoping to see you all next time in the saloon.